The 1960s was an era of some of the most powerful jaw-dropping machines the world has ever seen. Manufacturers pushed the limits of engineering, cramming monstrous engines under hoods, fine-tuning suspensions, and stripping down the weight to build machines that could dominate any race. But which ones were truly the quickest? In a time when every automaker was trying to outdo the other, these 10 cars emerged as the true titans of the quarter mile. Number 10. The 1968 Shelby GT500 KR, also known as the King of the Road, saw only 1,571 units produced, and owning one was and still is like holding a golden ticket in the upper echelon of muscle car history. At the heart of this beast roared the formidable 428 cubic inch Super Cobra Jet V8 engine, a power plant that made 335 horsepower and an impressive 440 foot-pounds of torque. But those numbers only tell part of the story. Shelby didn't stop at the engine though. The GT500 KR featured thoughtful suspension upgrades that ensured all that power didn't go to waste. Staggered rear shocks helped prevent the dreaded wheel hop during hard launches, providing better traction and stability. Additional bracing in the suspension gave the car a more solid and reliable platform, making it as composed as it was furious on the track. Clocking a quarter mile in times of 13.9 seconds, the GT500 KR was certainly no slouch. While it may be the slowest in this list of the quarter mile champions, its performance was still highly competitive for its time. Number 9. Just above the GT500 KR is a 1969 Pontiac GTO Judge, the crown jewel of Pontiac's muscle car lineup. This halo car turned heads with its bold design and vibrant paint options like the famous Carousel Red. Beneath its hood lay a powerhouse that earned it a place in muscle car lore, the mighty 400 cubic inch Ram Air 4 V8. This engine delivered a robust 370 horsepower and an earth-shaking 445 foot-pounds of torque, offering performance that thrilled drivers and humbled competitors. The 3-speed Hydromatic transmission provided seamless shifts, allowing drivers to focus on getting the best possible launch. Complementing this was a safety track differential, which distributed power evenly to the rear wheels, improving traction and ensuring that the Judge's impressive torque didn't go up in a cloud of tire smoke. One quirky detail that enthusiasts love to share is how the Judge's engine was so large and tightly packed under the hood that air conditioning wasn't even an option. This wasn't just a practical limitation, it was a badge of honor and a reminder that the Judge prioritized performance above all else. Sweating through a race or a long drive was just part of the experience, and for those lucky enough to own one, it was a price they were happy to pay. In terms of performance, the GTO Judge matched the Shelby GT500 KR with a quarter mile time of 13.9 seconds. Number 8. At number 8 is a 1968 Chevrolet Camaro Z28 RS. Unlike the larger, more powerful muscle cars of the era, the Z28's secret weapon was its compact 302 cubic inch V8 engine. At first glance, the engine's modest size might seem like a disadvantage, but it delivered a surprising 350 horsepower, an impressive number for such a small displacement. This was no ordinary street engine. It was specifically built for racing homologation, meaning it was engineered to meet the demands of competitive motorsports while maintaining an aggressive performance characteristic that muscle cars enthusiasts craved. The car's lightweight design, combined with its race-derived suspension, made it an absolute rocket off the line. The suspension system was carefully crafted to handle the stresses of hard launches, ensuring that the car stayed glued to the pavement when the pedal hit the metal. In a drag race, where every fraction of a second counts, the Z28's ability to efficiently transfer its power to the ground was a huge advantage. The Z28 RS clocked in a quarter-mile time of 13.8 seconds, a time that put it in the upper ranks of muscle car performance. While some of its larger competitors relied on sheer size and muscle, the Z28's smaller, more nimble form allowed it to punch well above its weight. Number 7. Next is a 1969 Plymouth Cuda 440, a beast with a massive 440 cubic inch V8 engine capable of an impressive 375 horsepower. Adding to the car's racing reputation were several key components installed by the legendary Hurst Performance brand. The limited slip differential ensured that the massive engine's torque didn't overwhelm the car's traction, allowing it to get off the line properly and remain stable at high speeds. What makes the 1969 Cuda 440 even more special is its rarity, with only 358 units ever produced. The 1969 Plymouth Cuda 440 posted a quarter-mile time of 13.8 seconds, tying it with the Camaro Z28 RS. However, where the Z28 was light and nimble, the Cuda offered a different power-to-weight experience. The combination of its larger size, heavier engine, and the race-tuned components gave the Cuda a distinctive, muscular feel that was unique in its own right. Number 6. The 1968 Pontiac GTO Royal Bobcat was a true example of what happens when a manufacturer's already impressive performance meets the specialized touch of a skilled tuner. Royal Pontiac, a dealership and performance shop, saw the potential in Pontiac's GTO and took it to the next level, offering a series of upgrades that turned the already potent muscle car into a quarter-mile powerhouse. The Royal Bobcat was powered by a 228 cubic inch V8 engine, which was finely tuned to maximize performance. But Royal Pontiac didn't stop at the engine. They also focused on the car's handling, tweaking the suspension to improve the car's launch, featuring front and rear suspension modifications that made it more stable off the line, preventing the dreaded wheel hop that could ruin a hard launch. The tuning gave the GTO an edge in both straight-line speed and cornering, allowing it to perform at its peak not just in a straight quarter mile, but across a range of driving conditions. The 13.8-second quarter-mile time placed the GTO Royal Bobcat alongside some of the best, offering a performance that could hold its own against other heavyweights. Before we move on, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and smash that notification bell. Number 5. The 1969 Hurst Oldsmobile 442. Renowned for its collaboration with Hurst, a company famous for its performance upgrades, this muscle car took the already impressive Oldsmobile 442 and made it something better. The Oldsmobile had an enormous 455 cubic inch V8 engine capable of producing 390 horsepower and 500 foot-pounds of torque. To make sure that power was properly harnessed and efficiently transmitted to the road, Hurst designed a specialized 4-speed transmission and included a limited slip differential in the build, which helped keep the rear tires planted on the pavement during a hard acceleration, ensuring that the 442's potential was realized without the risk of losing traction. The result was a muscle car that posted an impressive quarter-mile time of 13.7 seconds, making it one of the quickest cars of its time. Number 4. Above the Oldsmobile is a 1969 Dodge Charger RT Hemi. The Charger RT was built with a 426 Hemi V8 engine, producing an astonishing 425 horsepower and a bone-rattling 490 foot-pounds of torque. To ensure that all that raw power was put to good use, Dodge outfitted the Charger RT with a Dana 60 rear end and a limited slip differential just like in previous models. These components were carefully selected to handle the immense torque of the Hemi and maximize traction. The Dana 60 was known for its strength, providing durability needed to withstand the stress of hard launches and high-speed driving. This combination of engine, drivetrain, and suspension made the Charger RT a drag racing powerhouse, capable of blasting through the quarter mile in just 13.5 seconds. The Charger RT also found its way into popular culture, particularly in films like Bullitt and The Fast and the Furious. Number 3 is the 1969 Plymouth GTX 440 Hemi. Just like other cars on the list, the GTX was powered by the iconic 426 Hemi V8 engine, delivering an explosive 425 horsepower and 490 foot-pounds of torque. This powerhouse under the hood allowed the GTX to dominate the drag strip, offering blistering acceleration and brute force on every launch. But the GTX also had a specialized suspension component that ensured this beast could handle its immense power with precision. Like its Charger counterpart, the GTX featured a robust rear end and a limited slip differential, which helped keep the car stable even while pushing it to the absolute limits. This meticulous engineering allowed the GTX to launch efficiently, reaching an impressive 13.5-second quarter-mile time, right alongside the Charger in terms of performance. Number 2. The 1969 Chevy Camaro ZL1. Sitting at the number 2 is a true game-changer in the world of muscle cars. The ZL1 was constructed with an all-aluminum 427 cubic inch V8 engine, a piece of technological brilliance that not only delivered an impressive 430 horsepower, but also weighed significantly less than the traditional iron block engines found in many other muscle cars in the era. This reduction in weight gave the Camaro an edge, allowing it to accelerate quicker and handle better. The engine's power was immediate and fierce, with the ZL1 tearing through the quarter mile in just 13.2 seconds, a blistering time that put many of its competitors to shame. Number 1. The 1969 Plymouth Roadrunner A12 stands tall as an undisputed king of the 1960s muscle cars. At its core was the mighty 440 cubic inch six-pack V8 engine. With an impressive 390 horsepower, the six-pack carburetor setup, a trio of two-barrel carburetors, gave the engine an edge, providing both high-end power and thrilling acceleration. When the Roadrunner A12 hit the road, it did so with authority, its engine roaring as it left everything else behind in the dust. Plymouth gave this car racing-focused upgrades that transformed it into a true drag strip king. The 4:10 axle ratio ensured that the car had optimal gearing for fast starts and high-speed runs, while the limited slip differential worked tirelessly to maintain traction, even under the most aggressive acceleration. Combined with the wide Goodyear tires which provided maximum grip, the Roadrunner A12 was able to put all that power to the ground and maintain its stability throughout the quarter-mile run. The car's handling was as sharp as its acceleration, making it a finely tuned machine that could handle the stress of drag racing while still delivering a smooth and controlled ride. The result of all these enhancements? A blistering 13.0-second quarter-mile time, making the Plymouth Roadrunner A12 the fastest muscle car of the 1960s. These machines were the pinnacle of the 1960s engineering, a time when American automakers, fueled by fierce competition and a love for all things fast, crafted some of the most iconic cars ever made. From the roar of the 426 Hemi to the sleek curves of the Camaro ZL1, each one of these cars told a story. But every car enthusiast has their own favorite, their own story to tell. What about you? Do you have a special connection to one of these muscle cars? Maybe a favorite memory of a road trip, a drag race, or simply the feeling of sitting behind the wheel of an American powerhouse? Let us know in the comments.